Hey everybody.
Hello. How's it going, everybody? Welcome. It's Don't Worry Wednesday. It's great. Ryan's not with us. You guys that were here last time, you knew that Ryan was heading out. Anybody who's been paying attention to the Static P YouTube channel, you guys all know that he is down at the Anime Expo in Los Angeles. And yeah, so anybody who's down in that area or heading over there to the expo, keep an eye on his Twitter, I believe, right, Kyle?
Yes, yeah, his Twitter should have all the, if he's going to be appearing somewhere, you can go meet up with him. Should be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So yeah, just keep an eye on his Twitter, and he'll be posting updates as to where he's going to be. So then you can run into him strategically, and yeah, so that'd be pretty awesome. So welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. It's the show where we handle any challenges or issues you may be facing, and we just we like to talk about them. We're not professional therapists or counselors or anything like that, but we just want to pull up alongside you as a friend and do whatever we can to offer some perspective and some love and encouragement, and just be your friend through this challenge. We know you're probably smart enough to figure all this stuff out on your own, but sometimes it helps to have a fresh set of eyeballs taking a look at it and then seeing the whole picture rather than the specific spot you're looking at. Because I can remember lots of times when I've been handling a challenge and I'm just so focused on one aspect of it, and then a friend of mine can take a look at it a whole different way, and I can just be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think of it like that. And all of a sudden, I'm able to put the pieces together a lot more better.
Absolutely.
With more better English. So yeah. So yeah, our producer is Jesse. You guys know Jesse. He's awesome. And actually, our website, bss.studio, it's currently down, but it's on its way. We were just talking before the stream started. Jesse is working on it. He's got the server going, and we're right on the edge of having the website back up and running again. So stay tuned and keep checking bss.studio. You'll be able to hopefully go there, and we'll have everything back up again very, very shortly. So mad props to Jesse for doing all that. Thank you so much, sir. And our chat room hostess is Princess. Everybody give Princess a hand. She's awesome.
Yay.
She keeps us all on track and keeps us organized, and she's amazing. I'm Joe, and with me today is the bro man himself, Kyle. Kyle, I think you're on the top.
Always.
I'm gonna play. Yes, this is Kyle. Actually, it's very interesting. I've actually known Kyle longer than I've known Ryan. By like a week.
A couple of weeks, maybe.
Yep. Kyle's on the top bunk. I'm always on the bottom bunk. I think that's because there was a time when I fell off the top bunk.
Oh man.
Really, yeah, onto like a hard floor. It was not carpet.
Hmm.
And it hurt. And I was like, whoa. So now I like the bottom bunk. It suits me well.
I fell off a top bunk once into a dump truck. Well, into a toy dump truck. I landed like in the back of it.
Oh, did you roll anywhere?
I don't remember that
much. Well, this is awesome. So I see we've got some stuff to handle. We've got some stuff in the queue here. Anybody, if you have anything that you'd like us to talk about, just feel free to post it in the chat, or you can send me a message on Discord. Actually, the best person to send right now during the show would probably be Princess, because she would keep an eye on that stuff a lot more. Oh, and I see I got a new one. We have a new one on the Discord from Kendra. Thank you, Kendra. So, wow. Swilk, I see you are here, and you sent us an email not too long ago. Actually, you know what? I might have just wrecked it. I don't know if you were trying to be anonymous. Sorry. If you'd like to be anonymous, what I will do is not go through this right now. Okay, I didn't care to be. Okay, thank you. No, Kendra, I know you didn't send an email. I got your message on Discord. So, yeah. So, all right. So we will we'll go through Swilk, who also goes by Matt, and who actually, he's an amazing graphic artist, I must say. He's sent us some freelance modifications of BSS.studio to see what we thought. His ideas were great.
Yes.
I'm not sure how we would implement everything that was there, but it was sweet. He's a great graphic designer. So anyway, all right. So we'll start with this topic. And it goes like this. First, it says, I won't be on the stream today, but feel free to take this topic. But now here you are. So anyway, all right. So it goes like this. How do I deal with the envy I get from other good art? It's completely involuntary and subconscious, but time and time again, I find myself feeling bitter when scrolling through the art of others. It mainly happens with visual art. P.S. I don't want anybody to be afraid to share their art with me. I'd love to see any and all pieces you have. So I'm going to copy and paste it in the chat here. This is not a very super long topic, so I'll put it right here. Boom, boom, boom. Post it. It's not doing it. That's because I have too many characters. There we go. Ha. All right. I will do that. Jesse is talking in my ear. That's what's cool about having a producer. He gets to talk in my ear and not in everybody else's, which is great. Yes. So, all right. So anyway, Kyle, I'm going to turn it over to you and
yeah, absolutely.
let you take a stab at this first. So,
yeah, okay.
Away, Kyle.
So, other people's art, yeah. So, that is a sort of a normal response. And as a normal involuntary and subconscious response. That's very normal. So don't beat yourself up too much for having those sort of feelings, as long as you can identify them, right? If you can see that that's happening, then you don't have to let them control you. And you can sort of identify that and move on. So as far as why it's happening, that's another entire thing to look at, but just dealing with it once it happens, I think you just identify it. You say, you know what, this isn't something I want to feel. This isn't something that, maybe it's not even, it may or may not be reasonable to feel that way. And then you just reason through it. Should I, if I shouldn't be feeling this way, then, let's figure out how to not. Can I think about something else? Can I start looking at it in a different way? If you can, a lot of times I would imagine if it's some sort of envy, it's envy at how good their art is, right? You can use that to learn too, and you can say, okay, I really like how they did that. I'm going to do that next time, or I'm going to practice so that I can do that, and then turn that sort of envy into fuel, right? So that you can go and get better. But that is normal, especially when you're really into something that you're going to see other people do something. But keep in mind too, some of that is just um, their artwork might not be better than yours. It's just how you perceive it, right? Because you weren't part of the process in creating it. So I know I've talked to Joe and Ryan a lot. I don't do art really, but I know, but I know, talking to Joe and Ryan a lot about, a lot of the music that they produce, and you look at what it takes to build a song and to go through that whole process. And I know Joe experiences this quite a bit, where by the time you're done, it's like you almost don't even like it anymore a lot of the time.
No, you can't stand it, actually.
And because it takes so much work and so many hours of listening, and all the little mistakes, every little. I'm sure it's the same with digital art or hand art. I mean, you can see every little pixel that was in the wrong spot. Other people don't see that, and so when you're seeing someone else's art and you think it's so much better than yours, a lot of times, I mean, they could have the same struggle. They might look at your art and think the same thing. It's just that you don't know where their mistakes are. Right. But there's a mistake in absolutely every piece of our work out there.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. So, I mean, I guess that's a quick answer. If I can go into more depth if I need to, but I think I'm going to hand it off to Joe and we'll keep rolling.
Yeah, Matt, I can definitely understand I can feel your pain. This is one of the dangers. I mean, it's a privilege and an honor, and it's difficult at the same time to get to work with Static P. Because Ryan is such an amazing musician. I mean, he's so good, and like everything he produces, I'm so impressed by. And for a long time, I would feel self-conscious about that because, music is something I took a lot of pride in, worked really hard on, and still work hard on, and put a lot of effort into. And it's interesting because, I look at his stuff and I'm awestruck when I hear what he puts together. I mean, the way he sings, the way he puts his instrumentation together, the way he can do electronic drums just astounds me. And I sit there and I'm like, man, I feel like total trash at the bottom of the trash underneath the dirt and some more trash. It's like, wow, he's so good. And it's interesting because what I discovered in my case, I'm not necessarily saying this is the same for everybody else. I mean, everybody feels self-conscious about their own art, whether it's visual art, music, writing, making videos, everything. Everybody feels somewhat self-conscious about it. And one of the things that I discovered in myself was this was a prideful response from me, because what I was dealing with was, I felt that somehow it made me less of a musician or less of a person to be standing next to this person who I perceived to be way leaps and bounds better than me in this field that we both have chosen. And it's interesting because my response there, that pride, it basically just got in the way of me producing what I'm supposed to produce, because it made me just be self-conscious. And when I'm being self-conscious, I'm not free to create. I'm not free to just create my own stuff. And I love what Kendra just said. We have our own styles. And because we have our own styles and we are looking at new perspectives, we think it is either better or different or both. And it's so true because, I mean, Ryan writes in a different style than I do. Even down to the the way we craft a song, as far as like the different steps we take. You know, he takes totally different steps than me in building a song. You know, we do all of it differently, and what comes out is totally different styles. And some people really enjoy listening to my music, and they don't necessarily they don't necessarily enjoy Ryan's as much. I personally enjoy listening to Ryan's music way better than my own, but that's probably partly because of what Kyle was just talking about, where it's like once you're done with a song, you hate it. Which is really true. I mean, and I imagine it's true with visual art as well. Once you're done with, especially something big that you've spent a lot of time on, you look at it and you're just like, ugh, I don't even want to look at it anymore. I don't want to deal with it anymore. It's just, please get it away from me. But really, I just, what I had to remind myself of is, you know, each one of us brings something unique to the table. In fact, I had this driven home in my brain when I was going through an audio production course, and they were talking about being an audio engineer. Like, you're the guy who now they're talking about, okay, your job is to take the musician's material and mix it and master it and clean it up and do all that, right? The way you set the microphones, the way you add effects to things, the way you mix every part in, that is your unique style, and you are putting your fingerprint on that. And don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that there are some principles to follow, but there's not really right and wrong. You bring something unique to the table that nobody else can bring. And when I heard that, and I started to kind of I started to think in terms of my music style in that way, as well as my mixing style and my engineering style and all that kind of different stuff. When I started to look at that in that way, I started to feel a lot more confident, because I was like, wait, Ryan's stuff is different than mine. He has talents in these areas. He's very, very good. Very, very good. But you know what? I'm not so bad myself. And I just bring something unique to the table that's me, that's my own. And it's valuable in that sense. And as time goes on and I produce more stuff, you know, then there'll be more and more, you know, available for people to listen to. But I tell you what, Matt, your response, like Kyle was saying, that is so, so common and almost expected that you'd feel that way. And so one thing I would do is look out and make sure it's not a prideful response that somehow, like for me, I was thinking, you know, I'm going to look bad because I'm standing next to this guy who's so good. And that was a prideful response in me. Like, I was bummed about that, right? But if you can just remember, hey, you bring you. What you have in art is different than anybody else's. And it's beautiful and it's amazing. And I can tell you that just by experiencing what you've done, just by experiencing your little avatar guy here. I look at your avatar and I'm like, man, that's so cool. That little face made out of the, you know, I mean, I know it's really simple, but it's elegant and it's cool. Swilk adds, well, like I said, it's completely subconscious. I've reasoned through why it's irrational many times. I just feel like I can't get to enjoy good art a lot of the times. Yeah, I understand that. But, you know, the more you grow and the more you realize this, the more you'll open yourself up to being able to enjoy stuff. And it's not going to happen all at once. It'll be a process. But I'm telling you what, you bring something great, as well as many other artists do. And each one of us has our unique gifts. And you've got amazing ones. So, Kyle, do you have anything else to say about this?
No, I don't think so. I think that, you know, I agree completely with what you said. I don't have much to add at all. I mean, again, it's a normal subconscious thing. It's gonna happen. Just don't let it get to you. If you can, and if you feel like you're just maybe not being as charitable with other people as you should be, then that just takes practice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And watch Ryan, because he's charitable always.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes. Well, and one thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kyle.
no, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay. One thing that's helped me out also. Now, this is kind of recent, but one thing that's helped out a lot as far as my thought process on a lot of this stuff is I've been trying as hard as I can to think in terms of how can I play a supporting role in what Static P is doing right now. Because there's a lot of stuff coming. You guys notice he just released a new video. If you didn't notice that, go and watch it. It's amazing. There's the next installment of the Criminal Idol series is on there. The next ones are coming soon, and we've got different stuff coming up. We're just a couple weeks away from a pretty big event, and I'm telling you, just from my perspective, I've played a supporting role in helping to create some of this stuff and helping to design some of these campaigns coming up, and it's been so much fun to just play whatever part I possibly could. And I tell you what, it really helps to get your pride in order and in line when you can say, you know what, this person who I used to feel so small next to, now I can feel like I'm actually playing a part helping with this person. And now that opportunity is not always available, and I'm grateful that I have that opportunity. But when you can go and help somebody, if what you're finding is that your response is prideful, if you can find a way to help somebody without expecting anything in return, or just helping to boost somebody else and let yourself go a little bit, that really helps put your pride in check, I've found. So that's something you can do as well. Yes, there's the link. Go check it out. I will not be offended if you leave the stream and watch that video. You can be the 5 billionth person to listen to it in the last 24 hours or something.
5 billion. That'd be fantastic.
I know, right? So anyway, thank you, Matt, for posting the topic. Thank you for sending that to us. And 5 bajillionth. And hopefully some of that was helpful for you. It sounds to me like you got a pretty good handle on it, and you understand what's going on in your head.
Yeah, you seem to really have a good idea of what's going on, so you'll be able to beat this pretty quick, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But just because you handle it once doesn't mean it doesn't rear its ugly head later. We think we got something, in line, and then all of a sudden, bang, there it pops up again, and you're like, oh, and I got to deal with it again. But
yeah,
you can take what you learned and do it again. So it's all good. You got it. So awesome. Thank you very much. So we should move on. Let's see. We've got a few. Let's see. We got a few more things. Yes, that's like anything. I love that comment, Princess. The more you deal with it, the easier it gets. I tell you one thing that isn't like that. I just found out recently. I was talking to a guy, and I recently started Krav Maga, and I was talking to a guy who has been doing it for like 5 years, and he said, you know that old adage, the more you do something, the easier it gets. He says, yeah, doesn't really pertain here because the better you get at it, the harder you work, and so it's almost like it never gets easier. So, yeah. All right. Well, we've got one from Kendra. We've got one from Lay. We've got one from Bree. We've got one from, oh, who is this? I got one on my Discord from Random Kitten Nanako, who is posting for Mugenshon. I hope I pronounced that right. Princess, did you get that one also from Random Kitten? I think because I think you posted it on the spreadsheet actually. So, yes, okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's what we'll do. It's on the catalog. It is. Thank you. You're the best. Kendra's right here. So why don't we take care of Kendra's, and then we'll move on from there. How's that sound, Kyle?
Sounds great.
All right. Let's see. All right. So let's see. It is not on. It is not on the catalog.
Yeah, where was Kendra's?
Kendra's is on my Discord.
Oh, okay.
So what I'll do is I'll copy it and paste it in here so you can read along too, Kyle. So I just put it in the
Oh man, the colors.
Is it weird? Oh, because it's black?
Yeah, that's okay. There.
Sorry.
It just looked weird when it wrapped into the other cells because it was white on white. But it's
gotcha.
Now it's okay.
Now it's gray. Black on gray or something. Weird.
There. Okay.
All right. Look at that, man. We're fixing it. You guys are here.
What's going on? It's changing.
Okay.
Like a disco over here right now.
Yep. So Princess, I'll also Discord it to you. There you go. All right. So this is from Kendra. Kendra, thank you for your patience while we went through all that crazy technical stuff. So anyway, all right. So this is from Kendra. It says, so I am now starting to grow my art business and getting my name out there for people to know that I paint for people and that I also sell artwork. Way to go, Kendra. That's awesome. Once bss.studio is up again, I will post photos of what I've been painting recently. So far, I have sold altogether about 10 paintings for people and will be doing a lot more, especially when November comes around and we have our annual Frosty Frolic and Fling thing, where smaller businesses get to set up in a booth and sell their products. I think this is a great start for me because it gets my name out there. However, being that most of my stuff is art, being an artist doesn't always pay that much. I'm trying to figure out how, besides my YouTube channel, where I could teach other people how to paint or draw. I mean, I would love to have my own studio where I can offer art lessons for people, but the only places in town that are for sale cost a lot of money, and I don't have it. Not only that, but I'm still in college debt, and I don't need to be in more debt than what I have. If you have an advice on what I could do, I would be very grateful. Thank you once again for reading this. And that's from Kendra. Wow, Kendra, I have to say, I really appreciate your ambition and I appreciate what you're doing. And I think it's amazing that you've sold 10 paintings so far, and you're going to be doing more. That's great. So anyway, Kyle, you want to, what do you got?
Yeah, kind of just spitballing ideas for what to do, I guess, here, right? I just want to repeat what Joe said. I mean, that's awesome. If you've been able to sell 10 paintings, I know a lot of painters who have sold 0 paintings, and they work hard. That's tough. So that is fantastic. But it sounds like you want to teach people how to kind of paint, which I think that's really cool. One thing, I don't know, it's kind of, I don't know how well this would work or what your living situation looks like, but I know like a lot of people who are good with piano, a lot of people offer piano lessons out of their house, just one-on-one sort of tutor kind of a thing. And I don't know if there's a similar thing in the, for painting, but, or art in general, but if there is, that might be kind of a neat thing you can do too, just one-on-one lessons, more of a tutor thing instead of full classes. I don't know how well that would pay or anything like that, but I mean, that may be one way to go. Then you don't really need a big space, right? You can run it right out of your whatever you can find. You're with your parents, yeah. And I don't know if maybe they have some room that you could do that or not. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, is there any sort of like live almost like a Twitch, right, stream or something where you can interact with people, but they can interact back? Or I guess we're on YouTube, so YouTube stream. Similar to this, where you could kind of host a class that way, but you would need some more interactions. I don't know where you would, where you can see what they're doing also. So you could do conferences. I mean, I know we do conferences with each other all the time. So I mean, maybe you could get together a list of people who wanted to join in, and you could run a conference every week or a couple times a week, where you just do it all online, get a webcam, do screen shares or whatever you need to do. I mean, if everybody can get a webcam together, then you can just all practice right in your own space, and you can see what they're doing, and you can kind of guide them a little bit. But I think you're doing, I mean, honestly, if you've sold 10 paintings, you're doing a lot right already. I mean, you really don't need my advice, I don't think. I'm not the but that's the idea I could come up with for you. I do know, as far on BSS.studio, we are trying to cater, be a way for artists to communicate their artwork and get things out there and that kind of thing too. So, I mean, hopefully when we get the website back up, if there's anything that we can do to change it to make it better for you, definitely let us know. And we'll definitely like to implement whatever we can to make it easier for you and for anybody else to distribute their art and get their name out there and different things like that. So, what do you think, Joe?
Well, Kendra just updated here. It says the school doesn't have an art teacher this year, so I'm thinking if anyone wants art lessons, I could teach them.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's absolutely true. One thing I would look into, Kendra, and this goes right along the same vein as what Kyle was just talking about, and that is look into how to set up webinars. And so it goes a little bit beyond just a live stream or a or like a conference call. It's a little bit more in depth than that, and there are a lot of free tools or cheap tools to use to host a webinar. There are ones that you can pay a lot of money for too, so you got to kind of keep an eye out for that. But hosting a webinar, I've learned, is actually pretty easy. I was recently in on a live class. It was basically marketing. It spanned the course of, I don't know, a few months, where we would meet every week and everybody was there, and we could all, if somebody had something to ask, they could like raise their hand, and then the host would let them talk or whatever. But I think you could easily do that with art. Set up a webinar. You might set up, like, if it's going to be a painting class, you might have to have a couple different webcams, maybe 2 or 3. So you could get one that's just right on the canvas, so it's showing what's on the canvas, and then maybe another one that's up close. You may even need an extra person to zoom in on some detail of what you're doing right then and there. And then a camera on you, the whole thing, where it shows you painting and everything like that, right? So that's something. I need to get a better computer, Kendra says. Yeah. I understand that. Technology can be limiting at times. But here's the thing. If you're selling paintings, you might be able to put some of that money toward that. Another thing to look for, you can, I don't know what you have in the local area, but if you have a whole bunch of artwork that you're setting on, or you're continuing to create artwork and all that kind of stuff, look for places that have galleries. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's the most unlikely of places. There's an evangelical church that my family goes to, and they have a hallway where they feature artists, and they just have a hallway with a whole bunch of artwork on the walls, and it's a featured artist of the month or a couple months or something. Like, they have that artwork up there for a month or two, and there's always a little business card holder with the stuff there, and then there's little prices on there, and people buy the artwork right from there. You might check coffee shops if they have different little art galleries where local artists can sell their stuff. Restaurants, coffee shops, churches, all of those may be places where you can find stuff like that. Yep, hey, that's great. My mom mentioned I could donate a couple of paintings to my church's fall supper raffle. You absolutely could. And that would, when you give something away for free, that gets people interested in you, who you are. And that's exactly how people, get your name out there. That's exactly how people build webinars and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. They will give away some information for free, and whatever. And here's the thing, with the webinar stuff, you could even take that, record them, and then you would have classes that you've already done and created, and then you could sell packages of classes, like learn how to paint this type of thing, learn how to paint this type of thing. And then you'd have that whole thing, and it's already created. You wouldn't even have to be there anymore. And then, make it available. And, and then as you stack those up, eventually you've got a handful of courses that people can buy if they're interested in learning from that. And it doesn't require any more of your time, because you've already created them and set them up and recorded them and made them. And I know you'd be able to find some people that could help you with that. Like Kyle was saying, we've wanted BSS.studio to be a place where people can connect and connect with people who can work together and collaborate and do stuff like that. You know, and we certainly want that to be the case. But yeah, the more you can, if you can give some stuff away for free like that, or like in this case for a raffle, you know, where people can, you know, it can be like a fundraiser thing. So the church makes money, you get your name out there, someone goes home with a great painting, everybody wins, right? And from there, you know, you just start to do that. One thing I would probably do, sounds to me like you're already doing this, but stay focused if you can. I know as an artist, it's hard for me to stay focused sometimes. And because my brain goes off in different directions and I'm thinking creative things and I'm like, oh man, this would be cool and this would be cool. But if you can somehow stay focused and think, okay, I got this idea, this idea, this idea, and pick one, do it and finish it. You know, say the raffle, you've got some paintings, you know, you want to get your name out there, you want to do the raffle. Do you have some paintings already, or are you going to have to create some? If you're going to have to create some, do it. Great. And then that's done. That's ready to go. Next, the fling, what was the thing? The fling and thing. The super fling and sing thing.
Yeah, what was that called?
What's that?
And what was that called?
I
Yeah,
remember. Let's see. Frosty Frolic and Fling.
thing.
That's tough to say.
Frosty Frolic and Fling thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, but that's coming around in November. So you absolutely could set up a booth there. You'll have to contact the people there, figure out how much a booth is. I'm sure they're not free, but they're probably cheaper than, you know, buying a building to put a school in. And Kendra also posts here, I recently finished a painting of this lady's grandparents' house. She about started to cry and was speechless. She has posted all the paintings I have done for her online. Ah, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Kendra, I'm so proud of you. I mean, my goodness. I remember the first stream you came on and you were having the struggle of maybe not passing an exam and not being able to pursue the art school that you were planning on going to. And just to see what you're doing now, I'm so proud of you. I'm so impressed with what's happening. And it just makes me so happy inside that you're doing this. And you have a lot of avenues you could pursue. One that caught my attention here was the school doesn't have an art teacher this year, so I'm thinking if anyone wants art lessons, I could teach them. Absolutely, you could. There will probably be people that will want some art lessons. Anytime an art teacher leaves, maybe it's because their enrollment was kind of low in that area. But then there's all the people that wanted to take the course but can't now, that are going to be looking for a way to learn art. And you can step in and fill that vacuum. So, yeah, I don't know. I hope if you, it sounds to me like right now you got plenty of opportunity. It's just a matter of picking which one.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe prioritizing which ones could be the most important or which one to do first, you know? And so that's a tough one to decide. I mean, Kyle and I have had all kinds of conversations about like stuff for BSS that we're doing. And I'm like, Kyle, I've got like I've got like 14 things that are on my list here that I need to do for BSS. I need help figuring out what to do first. You know, these conversations we've had, Kyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's like, all right. And he like, don't worry, Wednesday's me. And he says,
Well, it does go both ways though. You know, a lot of times I get so much I don't know what to do either.
yeah. It's nice to have people around that can help you through this stuff. But yeah, I will call and I'll be like, here's my list of stuff to do. What should I do first? And he's like, okay, well, I would do this first and then this one and then this one, and then that'll keep you busy for a while, and then we can talk later. And I'm like, okay. So
yeah, if that is the case where you just can't pick out of the many options, if you get to that point, which it's kind of a good place to be, to have options, just look 5 years down the road. And just say, which of these options gets me there? Because sometimes we can get distracted by the paycheck for next week, but then we lose the paycheck 5 years from now.
Yeah, that's very key.
So, yeah.
Don't lose sight of that. Everything you're working toward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We need to don't worry daily ourselves. Yes. So true. So true. So yeah, who knew Don't Worry Wednesday would become a verb? I got Don't Worry Wednesday today. So, wow, Kendra, again, before you go eat, I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And I'm so grateful that I've gotten to be around for this experience that you're going through. I'm just humbled and grateful to be a part of your life in this, because, wow, that's awesome. So thank you, Kendra. And yes, enjoy your dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So we should move on to the next.
Yes.
Sparrow is here.
Do we have a thing from Sparrow?
No, I'm just saying hi to Sparrow. Sparrow is here.
Yes.
All right. Oh, Leo needs pie. Hey. Nice. It's also known as Leo needs pie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we've got a couple here that we can do. We've got the one okay, I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Let's see. Mugenxian. And let's see. So let me get on my Discord here and see what this is. Okay, he doesn't understand English well. What does it say? Please check my nickname so I know it's about my problem. So, okay, so let's see. look at the catalog. It's on there. Yes. Okay.
Which
All
one?
right. Mugenshon. This is the one you split into two on the thing.
Oh, okay.
So, all right. So, let's see. So this we'll do this one from Mugenshon, and hopefully it will find the proper ears. So, all right. So this came from Mugenshon. I am depressed and disinterested with everything, and I need to study for a test that is the most important of my life. And for this, I have 2 months to study 72 subjects and 1 more writing, and I am afraid to study so much and not to spend or study little and not pass. In this test, the questions that give the most points are basic and intermediate level, and I am discouraged, and it seems that the more I study, the less I understand about the subject. Sorry for the depressed is not a matter of sadness, but of emptiness. Who can help me with advice? Please check my nickname so I know it's about my problem. Oh, Mateus. No, that's totally fine. So I'm glad you're here. And then I will go on and welcome. Thank you for posting. I'll go on to the next thing. It says, good thing I've been studying for this important test. Serious problem with proof. I'm afraid I'm not passing the test. Okay. I guess this is just a reiteration of the one thing. So basically, there's a little bit more in here. Because I have to study 72 more things and 1 more essay in 2 months. I feel that I do not have progress studying. It's because my method is to get a topic and see a video about it. And every time I feel anxious because for me, it's a fight against time. But I did tests on the internet on some topics that I studied, and I had hits above 50%. I'm afraid it will depress me if I do not. The proof is August 25th. So you've got a test coming up. You are definitely nervous about it, and I understand. I've been nervous about many tests before. And you've got a lot of content to go through, looks like, and 2 months to do it. So, Kyle, you think you could speak on this a little bit? I know that you've probably had to take some pretty big tests in your lifetime.
Yeah, I can speak on it. Yeah, just a little bit. This seems like an absolutely enormous amount of studying. And my wife, when she went to school, she ended up taking extra courses her freshman year in college, first year of college, university. And she kind of had a similar problem where there was so much material to go over that it was literally impossible to do it all. She would spend, every waking moment studying, basically, and it was really, really tough. So, the best thing I could, it's a little bit cliche or hard, I guess, but the more you worry, the worse it's going to get, right? So, because you're so focused on the problem instead of the solution. So, try not to look at it as such a huge amount of material. Look at the little chunks and just focus on what's next. Because if you can take that next step, if you can focus on what's coming up now, the rest can come. So break it up into chunks, I would say. See if you can, and then try not to worry about what's coming up on down the road. We haven't, sometimes anxiety or stress comes from imagining what could happen instead of dealing with what has actually happened, right? And so what we do is we spend all this mental energy just focusing on what could happen, that, what could be wrong, what could happen next, and that takes away from our ability to study and work through what we need to. So try and just make it look smaller by so it's 72 subjects. I don't know how many you have to do per week, but let's say next week you have to do 10 of them. Okay. 16 topics. Okay. Not 70. Okay. 16. So that's okay. That's still a lot, so, I mean, 2 months, that's not much time at all. That's still really a lot of stuff to do. So, thank you for the correction. So yeah, I think, still same thing. Just don't worry about so much what's going to happen next month. That's next month. Yes, we need to have that in the back of our minds and be prepared that it's still going to be hard and we're going to have to be running and doing this hard work for a long time so that we're prepared for it. But we don't want to bog ourselves down with how hard it's going to be. So try and just look and see, split it up. What do I have to do this week? If I can just get through this week, then we'll worry about next week. In a high intensity situation like this, that's about all you can do, I think. And if you can try not to just eat it all at once, I think hopefully that'll help you kind of get through it. But but again, worrying about the future is as much as we need to be prepared for the future, worrying about it is counterproductive. So try really hard not to. Try not to think about it. Just prepare in the moment with these little chunks that you can map out. Take an hour, map this out, see what you need to do, get your game plan, and then just follow it. And then, check up on it every week, or if you have to, every couple of days. Take another half hour, an hour, look at your game plan, see where you're at, make sure you're on track. But then once you've got that plan, it's going to work. Just follow it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that'd be my advice on that. That's a lot of work to do in 2 months. So, you don't have time to slack. You don't have time to go slow. You don't have time to waste. So, that's what you need to know. It's a lot of work, so you don't have time to waste. So what do you do with the time that what do you do with your time? And then break it into chunks and do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's difficult because I cannot decorate well in the subject and always have jokes in the tests. So I'm going to So I'm going to try and translate what I think that means. So I cannot score well on the subject and get a high, and they have like trick questions where they're trying to, I would imagine. Yeah. And again, I think that's a lot of that stress. If even during a test, worrying about the outcome of the tests can make it hard. We don't get to choose necessarily. We can do everything we can to shape our futures, but on some levels we can prepare. In some ways we can prepare all we want, and the future is going to happen anyway, right? And so worrying about that, while it's not easy to not worry about it, it's something to try to do. If you find yourself so worried about what the result's going to be that you can't focus on the actual questions, then it's time to kind of think, well, why am I worried about what's going to happen, right? What's going to be, what good is this worrying going to do for me? And try and fight it. I know it's hard. It's extremely difficult to fight that, but just know that if you prepare, for the future will work out in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you can do. And anything that doesn't seem to work out in your favor right now, even if even if you prepare and you fail, at least you know that you did what you could. You gave it everything you had, and you'll feel good about that.
Mm-hmm.
You laid it all on the table. If you give it your all, you'll feel good, regardless of the outcome. If you realize that you doing your best is what's important. The scores, while they might impact your ability to maybe get a good grade or something, ultimately that doesn't define you as a person. You are valuable because of the work you put into yourself and into the lives of those around you, not because of a test result. So yeah. What do you think, Joe?
Well, I think this is a good time to go and listen to a song called Life Might Take Us.
Yeah.
By Static P. That song, the lyrics of that song are tremendous, especially when, I noticed one thing in your topic where you said that the test is the most important one of your life, or the test is most important of your life. And I think Sparrow says, even listen to the whole series because it's awesome. Yes, you definitely should listen to all of them. However, that specific song is really pertinent to where I feel like this thought process might be coming from. I remember in school when I was there, my teachers and any other authority figure, whether it was parent or Sunday school teacher or, school counselor or anybody like that, man, they made it out that, like, if you didn't do good on this test, your life would either be excellent or it would be absolutely ruined. Now, they didn't say exactly those words, but that's what I felt like when I heard it. It was like, man, if I don't do good on the SATs or the ACTs or the BMGs or whatever the heck, like, yeah, then your life is going to be terrible. And, I've lived a lot of years since then. And I did fine on the ACT. I did fine. I have always was a pretty good test taker. And I think the reason for that was because I was pretty much usually relaxed when I took the test. Like Kyle was talking about, that's probably your biggest enemy, is the concern about it or the worry about it. Like if you're psyching yourself out during the test, then then that's just an added layer of stress, to throw in there at you. And that's going to be really hard. So, for one, how you do good on a test, go back and listen to what Kyle said. I know, I know your English isn't all that great. Hopefully you can understand what we're saying, or at least get a translator, some kind of a translator app or something to talk about what's being said here. But Kyle laid out some really, really great step-by-step stuff for you to do, some really good practical things, because you've got this short amount of time for you to study with a lot of material. And yep, you'll have to take it one chunk at a time and just be consistent and do that. A couple things that I would add into that. These are things you can do in your life as you do this. There are two things I would do, and that's watch your nutrition what you eat,
Hmm.
and do some exercise and try and get some rest. Now, those of you that know me, for me to prescribe rest to somebody might not sound like me talking, but if you can do if you can do some physical activity, whether it's even just walking or running, or if you're stressed out, do something hard, do a bunch of push-ups, do a bunch of sit-ups, do something that challenges you physically, and where your body really works hard. I know that when I get really stressed out, that's what I've kind of found to be my outlet. Is I try and I just work. I do some pretty tough workouts when I do that. I'll do a lot of burpees, which is basically a push up with a squat jump in there, and so, but anything that's really hard and is going to make me tired, work my muscles hard and make me breathe hard and sweat a lot, I'll do that when I'm stressed, and that helps a lot. And I think it makes my rest more effective. Like when I do sleep, I sleep hard because of that. But another thing, when it comes to nutrition, I would try to avoid sugar as much as you possibly can. I know that seems weird, but I would definitely try and do that. What sugar can do is it can make your brain kind of, jumpy.
Mhm.
And when you're trying to study, it's good to focus. And so I would eat more healthy fats, because that type of stuff I've found when I went from eating more sugar to then changing into eating more proteins and fats, meats and butter and olive oil and stuff like that. I noticed my concentration got a lot better and I was able to focus a lot more. So those are some things to think about as you go down this path. But I would also encourage you to play this little game. This is a game I play with myself once in a while, where I will say to myself, all right, so I'm facing this big challenge. What if the worst possible thing happens? What if it does? In this case, probably failing the test in this regard would be the worst possible thing that could happen. So what happens if you fail the test? And then you can, Munjan, I'm afraid to repeat and get old until I pass the test. And it comes 1 hour that I'd be too old for that. Okay. Okay, so basically you don't want to fail it, so you have to repeat it, and then you get too old to take the test again, maybe, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So okay. So but then what happens? I mean, what do you do in that case? Because it's not going to be the end of your life, and it's not going to be the end of the world. And when I'm facing something like that, where it's like, oh my gosh, I think this is going to be crazy. I remember facing a situation where I was like, oh my gosh, I could lose my family. I could lose, the job I just got. I could lose all kinds of stuff. And what would I do if that all happened? And then I put together a plan for what I would do if that happened. I said, okay, well, if I lose my family, what am I going to do? Well, I'll do this and I'll do this. And if I lose my job, what am I going to do? Well, I'll do this and I'll do this and I'll continue in that. Oh, and what if I lose myriad of other things. And, you know, as I went through this process and I was like, okay, now I have a plan for the very worst thing that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm not scared of it anymore because I know exactly what I'm going to do. And like Kyle was talking about, your biggest enemy in this is the fear. That's the problem that's going on in here. It's not the fact, you know, like you've got a big body of material. Yes, that's a big deal. Yes, you have this big test and it's important. Yes, that's a big deal. But the biggest obstacle you're facing right now is the fear. And if you can get rid of that, man, you will feel so much better about this test, and you'll probably do better on it because you won't be as stressed about it. And that, for me, it all came from having a plan for the worst possible outcome. And once I had that plan, then I was like, well, now I'm not afraid of it anymore. Bring it. And so then I started taking steps to make it better. And that's exactly, if you follow Kyle's plan where you take it in chunks, you've got each subject, you know, take it in chunks, take it an hour at a time, you know, or a half an hour at a time even. You know, take it in chunks and then take breaks. Keep your mind fresh, do some exercise, try and eat healthy. You're going to be just fine. But play that game where, you know, so you can figure out a plan for that worst outcome. And then when you have that, you don't have to be afraid of it anymore. And you will feel this burden just lift off of you. And you'll feel so much better about it. And you'll go into the test, and you'll just be like, hey, I'm going to do the best I can. I've prepared. I've done the best I can in preparation. Now the results, hey, the results are no longer up to me. I'm going to do my best. I've done my best in preparation. Mm-hmm. And come what may, that's going to be it. And then you'll go into that test relaxed and confident. And you can do it. You totally can do it. You can nail this thing. But if you can get rid of that fear, that's gonna help you so much. So I really appreciate Kyle talking about that. But Kyle, do you have anything else about this?
No, thank you for expanding on those. That's some great additional little tidbits there.
Well, I hope it can help you. I mean, I remember facing big tests, and it can be stressful. In fact, I took a class on how to take this test. We had this test called the ACT. It was a college placement prep thing, class, test thing, whatever. And I actually went to a class that taught you how to take the test. So not only did I have my classes that were teaching me what was going to be on the test, but yeah, okay. Mateo says, sorry if you ask a question, my English is bad. I'll definitely review the live stream with subtitles and hear your advice. Awesome. Thank you. That's good to hear. But yeah, I took a class to take this test. And it was just this weird experience. I'm like, wow, I did pretty good on the test. And then you know what? I didn't hardly even use the test, the results from the test. I got into a great college. I had a nervous breakdown. I dropped out of that college. I went to a small community college where the test wouldn't have even mattered. Took a whole bunch of classes in music production and art and all this kind of, and, you know, like media production and, you know, percussion performance and all kinds of stuff. And I took all kinds of classes in that. And then I ended up being a property inspector. And we have this company, BSS, and we've got a great website that's almost going to be up again. And you can go to that. And yeah, and I get to work with some of the greatest people on earth. And that test doesn't matter at all for any of that great stuff. So that's just a little perspective. I mean, we at the time I thought the test was super duper important and it was going to be life or death. I mean, this was either having a great life or none at all. And come to find out, you know, down the road, it didn't matter as much as I thought. And that's another thing that might take some of the fear out. Just put it in its proper place. But yeah. Sorry, I could go on for days, and I would, but I'm not going to, because
yeah. And you know, and that's kind of an interesting thing too, just to expand that a little bit. Anything that anybody is ever afraid of is never as important as they think it is. Always. If you're afraid of it, it's probably because it's not nearly important as something that you should be focusing on. It's sort of a distraction that's placed in there from what really matters.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. But feel free to come back and ask more. And you know, if you're studying and you're running into a tough spot. Yep. Come back. We'd be happy to do anything we can for you. So thank you, Mateus, or Mugen.
Sparrow, the site is down temporarily, but we are actually, Jesse was actively working on it just before we started here today, so we think it'll be up pretty quick. He's really close.
And he's good at that kind of stuff. But you know what's even more important is he looks really good when he works on it. Yeah, I can just picture him over there with the server, sitting at the computer, staring like this. Telling his cat to go away.
Okay, cool.
You're very welcome, Mateus. Thank you for being here. And yep, come back again anytime. Post anything anytime. We'd love to have you here. So awesome. Well, we're rolling. Do you want to handle one more?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I know we've got Lays on here. Princess says we need to handle Lays, even if he's not here.
Okay.
So we do have that one. And then that might wrap up the show for today. I don't think we've got anything else. Have we gotten any other ones in here, Princess?
There is one more on here.
I know we have one from Bree, but Bree isn't here.
Right. I don't want to. That one, she needs to be here.
Yep. We've been speeding through it.
Oh, man. Don't pull us over.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do then, and then we'll, if anybody wants to shotgun some questions or something, we can try a speed round after that, but.
Oh, no, it's the cops.
I know, Static's new song is awesome.
It is. And the video that Rainey did the whole video.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, it was like Rainey would do the artwork and then Ryan would put together the video. But man, this time I think Rainey did a great job on that video.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And they're all, Ryan and Rainey, they're all at the Anime Expo having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you're down there, you should go check them out. You could go find them. Stay on the Twitter. So, yes. And if you think that song's awesome, wait till the next one.
Oh, I know. Oh, my gosh.
The next episode.
The next one is honestly one of my favorites so far. Like,
yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, the video's not done for it, but the song is.
Like if you thought this one was awesome, oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing about Ryan. He like every single one of them gets better and better and better.
Yeah,
that's just kind of how it goes. It's crazy, and he'll throw a little twist in there, and it'll sound different and crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Excuse me, sir. Can you show us your advice license? We have even better. We have an advice disclaimer.
Right.
So, all right. Well, let's handle this one from Master Lay.
Yeah, actually, real quick, Akil, you're right. Joe's next song is awesome.
As soon as I put together some cover art for it, it'll be released.
It's pretty cool too. Yeah, you gotta wait. You gotta keep an eye out on that. I don't know. I mean, with the stuff we got on the table right now, it'll still won't be too soon, but definitely watch for it. It's cool.
Oh, it's like it's one of the top 3 things on my list right now.
Oh, is it now? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You know the list you helped me make?
Yeah.
It's in the top 3 to finish that up. So it should be done in a couple weeks.
Nice.
Within a couple weeks. So, cool. All right. Well, here is Lay's. It says, I genuinely feel like I'm slowly crumbling down into ruin. To top off that feeling, I also gave up on my crush, as in I'm literally fighting myself so as not to talk to her at all anymore. Sigh. The same one I gave up my friend's trust for, and a lot of time and nerves, and a few promises. And it hurts, because it genuinely feels like I'm fighting a part of myself that defined me up to now. Plus, there's this feeling of loneliness that just lingers around. The consciousness of how am I supposed to find anyone if I can't even not push people away whenever I meet them. And by that I mean, personally, the camp to Sardinia was an emotional failure. Despite how cool the trip was, being the laughing stock of half the camp is really not reassuring. And that's from Lay. Lay, it sounds like you're in kind of a low spot right now. Sorry to hear that, buddy.
Yeah.
But it also sounds like there's some there's a little bit of some changing of gears and changing of the winds blowing going on in your life. Excuse me. And I definitely have been there before, where maybe you feel a little bit lost. Maybe you feel like a whole bunch of stuff that you thought was so important to you, now you discover isn't. And yeah. In fact, I've had a lot of experiences like that even in the last few years. So, but I'm going to let Kyle start us off. And yeah, Kyle.
Yeah. So, I just want to, I just want to sit with you and talk to you, you know, and just hang out. I think at times like this, it's sort of like we need to sit down and just really figure out what matters in life. Just really sit down and figure out what's important, which relationships are important, and even if we've wrecked them, or maybe there are relationships that don't exist anymore, you know, or don't exist yet, rather. Um, Identify those and do whatever you can to build them back up. Um, um, because there are people in your life that care about you and that you care about them. And even if we burn a bridge or um, push people away from us, that doesn't mean that they're always pushed away. We can bring them back in. We can go and approach them. And I mean, sometimes it's just, going up and saying, "Hey, I'm sorry. What can I do to make this better?" And do it, in an honest, just say, "Look, I, really need," tell them, "I need to make this better for me." You could tell them that, but you also say, and because, tell them you care about them, let them know that's why you want to make it better. You don't want to do this just because for you, but you want to do it also for them. Um, and most people will work with you on that. If you are honest and they can see that you're honest and you're trying, that will get your relationship back on the right track very quickly. Um, with anybody that you've pushed away. I mean, they could, people will see that. Um, and then, I'm a little bit not sure as far as some of the details here are a little bit um, missing. Maybe they've been talked about before, but it sounds a little bit to me like you had a crush that you were going after, and in the process kind of pushed away some of your other friends. And I think that, again, it's just honesty. Go talk to them and say, "Hey, I realized that I was doing this thing that wasn't right. Will you forgive me? Can we hang out? What can we do to make this better?" And just go from there. Because really in life, it's the relationships that matter, right? We were made to be in relationship with each other. And so, um, but you can get them back. You can or you can, and you can find new people to be in relationship with. There are people that care about you that you probably don't even realize they care about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting to look around and I mean, I've experienced this a few times, where I'll know somebody a little bit, not that well, and then all of a sudden something happens and it's like, wow, I mean, I didn't realize that you even thought about me that much at all or even cared. It's like really cool. And I'm sure that exists for you as well. So look out, keep your eyes open. If somebody does something nice for you, it's because they care about you. Most people aren't trying to just be nice to take advantage of you. Um, so, and sometimes people, they might not be nice, but they still care about you, and you can tell because they're really trying to do what's best for you, whatever they think that is. And so, even if you don't agree with what they're doing, if it looks like they might be trying to do it for your benefit, okay, then, it's time to kind of talk about it with that person and see what you can do to work it out. But definitely, I mean, it's, um, um, I think the cure for this is to, as far as I can tell, based on, with a little bit of information, is to definitely rebuild those bridges with the people that have been sort of let go in this process. Because most people, they'll want you to be their friend again. They'll want you to be in relation. They miss you, I'm sure. So I think a lot of people will be more than happy to rebuild that bridge. So, yeah. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. 4 words come to mind. I think I said these on the last stream, but these 4 words have helped me through so many things. And that is, this too shall pass.
Mm-hmm.
Many, many times when we're facing something where we're dealing with personal pain or the loss of a friendship or a relationship, we're lonely and hurting. Those words have gotten me through a lot of those times where it's like, okay, I know this is going to be over. Or maybe it's a really stressful time. Maybe it's a financially stressful time. And in those words, this too shall pass. This is, there's going to be a time when I don't have to deal with this situation anymore. And that helps out a lot. Or maybe there's a big strain in my marriage, for whatever reason, there's plenty of reasons out there. But this too shall pass. We're going to get past this. It's going to, we're not going to deal with this forever. And here's the thing, it's very interesting because, it's good to live in the moment. It's good to experience what you can from the moment. And to get as much, to kind of absorb and drink life fully, to whether it's good feelings or bad feelings or whatever it is, to fully engage in life. Because when we can experience those depths of despair and loneliness and pain, and then also drink deeply of the good times, our lives feel full. And even in those painful moments, when we're just like, man, I just really wish this was over. I really wish I didn't have to deal with this anymore. It's not a bad thing to let those feelings wash over you and experience them and feel them and really, really feel them, because what happens is they can turn into defining moments. You may be going through a moment right now that's defining something in your character that years down the road, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, wait a second, you know what? This thing that happened in my life, this big change that happened was the result of that time. And because of that, I grew into this. And I never would have if that hadn't happened. I can look back on a lot of experiences in my life where I'm like, you know what? If that hadn't happened, and it really was terrible at the time, I had a really hard time with a bunch of stuff. But if I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't be where I'm at here. Or I wouldn't be where in other areas of my life, in different areas of my life. I'm like, you know what? Those things helped me grow into the type of person I am today. Helped me grow into, the person who can do the things I do, that thinks the way I think. All those moments add up and kind of helped to build who I am. And the same thing's going to happen for you. So even though this is painful and it hurts and it's tough and it's just difficult. Sometimes it helps to rest. Sometimes it helps to just sleep. I just want to sleep. I want to just, you know what? I'm done with today. I'm going to sleep. Tomorrow's going to be better. I've had those days like that too, where it's like, you know what? I'm just getting beat up by today. I'm going to bed. Because then I'll start over tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow will be better. You know? But before you know it, this is going to be over. And like Kyle was talking about, there's going to be some other people. You know, you don't know who cares for you. You don't necessarily know all of the people that do. But there are people that do. We do. We do on this stream. You know, we care about what's going on. We wouldn't talk about this stuff if we didn't care about you. And it's always a joy to have you on the stream. And I hope that, I mean, I don't see your name on here now, but we were told that we should handle this anyway. Princess told us, and she's kind of the boss. So but yeah. You know, I'll tell you a little story. I remember I have a camp story. I know it. I didn't get a lot of detail of your camp experience. Said despite how cool the trip was, being the laughing stock of half the camp is not really reassuring. And you know, I remember being at camp. This was the last time I went to summer camp. We would go. I went every year for probably 4 years, and it was just for a week. You know, just a week long at camp. And it was a great place. You know, I always had a lot of good time there, you know, and everything. And there was this one year, it was kind of like I was on the younger spectrum, and it was the first year I was with like the older kids, with the middle school and high school kids, right? Every other year I'd been there, it'd been like the elementary kids, right? I was in that group. And this year it was like middle school and high school, and I was there, and there were some people I knew there. There were a bunch of people I knew there. I think my brother even was there this time. And we were in the same cabin and everything. It was weird. But I remember I just got picked on a lot. Because it was my first year at that age. And I remember these guys, man, there were a couple guys in the cabin, they were like, they just picked on me all the time. They were big and athletic, and you know, they were the cool kids and everything, and they had, you know, these girls they had met there that they kind of had girlfriends there when we're not, you know, whatever. And they were just cool and everything, and they were whatever. And they picked on me a lot because I was little and quiet and, you know, kind of nerdy and whatever. So, and I remember, man, probably must have been either Thursday or Friday of the week. So it was getting towards the end of the week. It was like the last half, the last half of the week. We're standing in the line to go get dinner. And this one dude just decided he wanted to give me Charlie horses. And what that was, he just punched me in my thigh, right? Just poof, punched me in the thigh. Ah! And I'd tell him to stop, and he'd do it again. And he's there with this girl, and they're laughing, you know, whatever. And finally, he punched me again. And man, I just started bawling. Just crying, like weeping, crying. And I ran. I ran out of the line. I was like, I don't even care. I'm not even getting dinner. You know, I just went back to the cabin and I laid down on my bed and I cried. Because it was so much. It wasn't even the pain of the being hit in the leg. It was just everything that led up to that point. And all of a sudden, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I just left and wept. And I was like, that, and seriously, there I am, bunch of middle school and high school kids. Holy cow, that was embarrassing, right? So I went and I just laid down, I buried my face in my pillow and I cried for a while. And sometimes that can be therapeutic too. Then finally my counselor came and he talked to me for a minute and he, you know, convinced me to go get some dinner. And I still, man, I was a mess, man. My face, it was all puffy. You know, you get that puffy face from crying. Like I'm sitting there in the line, I'm getting my mashed potatoes and my corn and my chicken and whatever, you know, and I'm just like, and the one dude came, the guy that had been picking on me, he came and apologized. He really apologized. He felt awful about it. He really did. And I, you know, I was just like, whatever, dude, just leave me alone, please. Like I've had enough of you. I appreciate you're sorry, but like, so I understand having a trip that can be tough. But you know what? If I hadn't gone through that, I probably wouldn't be who I am now. And I'll tell you, whatever is bad that's going on right now, you're going to get through it. There's a book called Peaks and Valleys. I think it's by Spencer Johnson. Maybe not. But Peaks and Valleys, if you can look that book up, that helps a lot with the type of stuff you're going through. Because you're going through a valley right now. But eventually, you'll be back on a peak again. And then you'll be down in a valley again. And then you'll be up on a peak again. And it's kind of how life goes. Peaks and Valleys, Spencer Johnson. Thank you, Akil. But if you can learn that pattern and you start to learn the things that were that made you be on the peak, you start to learn the things that got you up to the peak, then you don't have to spend as much time in the valleys. But the next valley is going to come. And then you figure out what to do to get to the next peak. And maybe you can get there faster, and maybe it'll be even bigger. Because a lot of times, the deeper the valley, the higher is the next peak you're going to rise up to. So this is going to pass, and you're going to be through it. And you'll be on a high again soon. But don't forget this time, because it can define who you are. And I'm sorry, I've talked way too long. Akil says, maybe you can live on the flatlands one day. Maybe. Just sometimes we really ache for that. You know, it's like, man, can just nothing happen for a while? Like, can we just be in steady mode?
Just for a day.
Hey, can I not? Can I please just not have this crazy Yep.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add one more quick thing here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you said it feels like it genuinely feels like I'm fighting a part of myself that defined me up to now. And if that's the case, that might be a bad thing and it might not be a bad thing. So take a look at how you're defining yourself. And is that a good way to define yourself or not? You know, what makes you who you are? And if, you know, sometimes we get caught in, oh, that's just the way I am, so I'm going to keep doing that. I've done that for a lot of my life. You know, it's like I didn't see the point in changing anything. That's the way I am. Who cares? Whatever. Deal with it. Whether or not being that way was good or bad, you know, like that wasn't really a consideration. It was just, that's me. So if you are in the process of fighting yourself, then take a step back and really look at what would be, you know, what would be the best, I guess, the best version of yourself. Which side wins that makes you the best? And then just let that side win. Don't fight. Either just get better. You know, and sometimes that's still a fight if we've got bad habits we're trying to overcome and things like that, you know, but at least you know who's going to win. Pick the side that's going to win and just actively do that. Or the side that should win. And then you'll get better. Every day, you know, might be a challenge to keep moving forward, but at least you know that that fight is worth something. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Man, I wish I had that snippet a couple of years ago. That was good. To figure out which part of you is better and let that win.
It's tough because we always want to be, at least I do. I always want to be stubborn about it.
Yeah. I was going to be like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to force myself into submission. But no, it's more along the lines of, wait a second. Find the one that's the better you and allow that one.
Yeah. A lot of times that's all it is. You know, yeah. Sometimes it's really not that hard to do the right thing. We just make it hard. So,
right. Yeah, we're good at that. We human beings. So, wow. Well, thank you, Lay. I know, hopefully you get to hear this. I know you're not here. But hopefully you will get the chance to hear it. But yeah, so I think that's probably going to about wrap it up. Princess says, sometimes it's easy to just want to do what you were doing, even in a losing battle. And that's so true. You know, sometimes what's familiar is what we want to do, even if it's bad. So, but what's good could just be right around the corner for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you guys. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for checking us out on Don't Worry Wednesday. It's kind of the holiday edition. I mean, you know, we've got 4th of July coming up here in the United States. That's tomorrow. So, you know, we got a big holiday and yeah.
And we got the Statics going to the convention holiday.
Yep, he's on holiday for like a couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be stuck with me for a couple more of these, so get your seatbelts.
Yeah. He's a good person to be stuck with. Trust me, I've known him for a while.
Make sure airbags work in case we crash.
Yes, and make sure the advice police don't stop us too much.
Yes. And if you
Akil, I hope.
fly, remember to put your own air mask on before the person next to you.
Yes. Akil, I hope you don't. I hope you can avoid getting into smoking again. I'm glad to hear that you were able to stop. That's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a good thing to avoid if you can. And I know it's a tough one, man. It's tough. But yeah, hopefully you can find a way to avoid it. Because man, life can be better when you're not attached to them. But we will enjoy ourselves with our families, and I really appreciate you being here, Akil. I know you've got some topics kind of floating around. Hopefully the website will be back up and you can post there some descriptions for us. Love to see you on Friday. And yeah, anyone who's here, come back on Friday. See us again for the Friday edition of Don't Worry Wednesday, the July 5th edition, which will be, Kyle said before we came on, we're making a July 4th sandwich with Don't Worry Wednesdays. Yes. Kay, hello and bye.
Yeah. Hi. Bye.
So yeah, well, maybe next time, Akil, come back on Friday and we'll see if we can piece together something. But yeah,
It sounds like we might have a website on Friday, so that'd be really cool.
We may. So, but anyway, you guys have a great couple of days. Friday's your birthday. Happy early birthday.
Happy birthday.
Man, come back on Friday. We'll wish you a happy birthday on your birthday. And that'll be exciting. We'll get Kyle to sing it.
Oh, man.
He's a good singer. Don't let him fool you.
You'll quickly learn why Ryan sings everything.
Whatever. Whatever. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful day, and we will see you next time right here on Don't Worry Wednesday. In the meantime, go check out bss.studio. Special thanks to Jesse. Special thanks to Princess. And super special thanks to Kyle.
No.
And also, thank you all for being here, everybody. And thank you for the great topics. I had a great time. And yeah, it's going to be good. So thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
See ya.